This may surprise you, but I'm not a big social media person, even though I love to communicate with others. But for many people, connecting on social media is an important part of their day. In 2021, the Pew Research Center found that almost 3/4 of Americans have at least one social media account. And those people spend about 65 minutes a day reading, posting, and liking content. That means they're spending a whole day on social media every month. For many of us, social media is something we interact with multiple times a day. And for sure, it has a lot of benefits, like the ability to connect with others, stay informed on current events, and collaborate to achieve our goals. But constant access to social media also comes with some challenges, like increasing our stress levels and enabling harmful behaviors like cyberbullying. Despite these drawbacks, social media has become an important way that many people connect and communicate with each other. So to fully understand how we build relationships and the ways communication affects our lives, we have to delve into the messy, fascinating world of social media and how it affects us IRL. In real life. I'm Cassandra Ryder, and this is Study Hall Intro to Human Communication. To get started, let's make sure we're on the same page about what's considered social media. Social media is internet-based communication that's built on web platforms. These platforms provide tools that people can use to create content and communicate with others in digital spaces and share it with people from different communities and cultures. That's pretty broad, and it means there are a lot of different types of platforms that are considered social media. Blogs, wikis, social networking sites like Instagram and Twitter, and video sharing sites like YouTube and TikTok are all examples of social media platforms. With so many different platforms, there's a lot about social media that communication students can study and find interesting. One of those topics is the online disinhibition effect, which is when we don't stick as closely to offline social norms when we're online. And that encourages people to take advantage of the freedom that they feel online to experiment with their identities and relationships. You can learn more about the online disinhibition effect and the aspects of the online world that lead to this feeling of freedom in our episode on how we behave online. But in this episode, we'll focus on how this theory plays out specifically on social media. When it comes to social media, the online disinhibition effect can give us the space we need to safely explore our identities and build meaningful relationships. And that's a positive thing. For instance, although Anya liked writing assignments in school, she never really saw herself as a writer until she started posting her fan fiction and exploring different parts of her identity with the unique text, audio, and visual tools that are a part of different social media platforms. As the likes started rolling in, Anya became even more involved in her fanfiction community by sharing and commenting on other writers' stories. When we explore and express our identities on social media, we can also form new, meaningful relationships we might not have found offline. Anya also likes how social media gives her a space to interact with people her own age without authority figures like her parents or teachers monitoring her constantly. It can sound scary to release a teen into the internet world, but on social media, young adults have the creative freedom to tell the story of who they are on their own terms. That freedom helps people form a strong sense of self, gain social awareness, and find acceptance and belonging. But social media is like a two-sided coin. While there are many benefits, it also has plenty of challenges. For instance, whether an experience on social media is positive or negative can feel like a toss-up. Like when Anya's friend Justin has unread DMs in their inbox, it stresses them out so much that they log out and never respond to them. But when Anya's inbox gets flooded, she's excited by all the attention and writes 300-word responses to each message. Justin and Anya have different responses to DMs because they're unique individuals with different expectations and reactions. Justin's overloaded inbox is just one example. But in general, when some part of social media triggers a stress response, it's known as digital stress. And just like the stress we experience offline, there are multiple types of digital stress that we experience online. For instance, it can feel like we have to be online all the time so we don't miss anything, which is known as availability stress. Since others can send us messages on social media anytime, availability stress makes us feel like we have to respond to every message we receive immediately. That requires a lot of work and attention. And as time passes, availability stress can make us feel even more guilty and stressed if we haven't responded. For instance, maybe Anya loves getting DMs from fanfiction readers and responds to messages as soon as they come in. But that way of interacting with readers is exhausting, and Anya knows she has to take a step back. Still, availability stress makes Anya feel like she's letting her fans down when she doesn't respond immediately. It can feel like a lose-lose. Like Anya, when we're in situations where we can't check or respond to notifications, we might worry that we're letting people down too. But everyone needs a break sometimes. And as long as we communicate about our boundaries, responding to online messages at our own pace is okay. Social media, including our DMs, lets us connect with lots of people all at once. And while those connections can be super fulfilling, sometimes the amount of information we're receiving overwhelms our ability to process it. This is another type of digital stress researchers refer to as connection overload, and it can feel kind of like trying to drink out of a fire hose. It's also tricky because connection overload can affect us randomly depending on the type of notifications we receive, when we receive them, and what the person on the other end of the notification wants. So to combat connection overload, we can turn off push notifications for email and apps so we aren't relentlessly bombarded. That way, the fire hose of information is turned down to more of a manageable trickle. But even when we're managing the amount of social media we consume, we can still become stressed out by what we see. Most of us want to share our good experiences with others, which means social media is basically a highlight reel of our most enviable offline moments. But looking at someone else's best of moments can make us feel like we're being left out or excluded. This stress is called FOMO, or the fear of missing out. For instance, when Anya sees that her friends went to a fanfic convention when she was stuck at home studying, she gets jealous. And when their posts from the convention get tons of attention, Anya feels totally left out of the action. Other people's posts can make us feel like they're having rewarding experiences and we aren't, which can cause anxiety, loneliness, and depression. So to combat FOMO, we should remember that the content we see on other people's profiles only tells part of the story. Like, maybe Anya's friends' pictures from the fanfic convention conveniently left out the part where they got food poisoning from the hot dogs at the concession stand. We can also reduce FOMO by focusing on doing what makes us fulfilled, and remembering that posting about them online is totally optional. But even when we do have exciting experiences to share on social media, we can still feel stressed about how others will react, which is called approval anxiety. When we post on social media, we're often seeking proof that other people approve of us through follows, likes, comments, and shares. If our posts get lots of positive reactions, we feel validated that people see us and like who we are. But if our posts don't get much attention, we can feel anxious that others disapprove of us, or that no one cares about us at all. For instance, when Anya's fanfiction starts getting fewer reactions online, she wonders if she did something wrong, or if people don't like her stories anymore. We all know we shouldn't care so much about what others think, but it's helpful to dig a little deeper here. Approval anxiety is connected to our fear of being excluded. Putting ourselves out there on social media and getting no reactions can make us feel really vulnerable. It's kind of like if we threw a party and no one showed up. As a reaction, approval anxiety can cause us to spend a ton of time curating our profile and posts because we feel constant dread that our next post will be the one that doesn't get any likes. So yeah, if we want to reduce approval anxiety, we have to work on being positive and confident about who we are. Building ourselves up can help us stay composed even when we don't get the response we want online. So like most things in life, there's a lot of good and some not so good stuff about social media. The online disinhibition effect can help us safely explore who we are and build a community with like-minded people. But connectedness can also cause different types of stress. It's hard to find the perfect balance, but there are some online behaviors that are much more hurtful than ignoring DMs or not liking posts. For instance, cyberbullying happens when people use technology and social media to hurt others. Looking at the power dynamics in a relationship, a person's intent, and whether bullying behaviors happen repeatedly can help us figure out if someone's engaging in cyberbullying. One way cyberbullying happens is when there's a power imbalance where the perpetrator has more power than the victim and uses that power for intimidation. In general, power imbalances can be created by differences in age, fame, financial status, and offline authority between the perpetrator and the victim. Perpetrators can also take advantage of some aspects of online spaces, like anonymity, to overpower their victim. For instance, if a super popular fanfic writer repeatedly comments on Anya's stories, falsely accusing Anya of stealing ideas from other writers, they're using a power imbalance to cyberbully Anya. The other writer has more fame and status in Anya's community, which means Anya's less able to defend herself and more likely to be harmed by the other person's totally baseless accusations. We can also look at whether a person intends to cause harm to determine if a person's behaving like a cyberbully. While we should be careful about making assumptions about other people's motivations, if it seems like someone wants to hurt others with the things they say online, there's a good chance they're engaging in harmful behavior on purpose. People engage in cyberbullying because they find pleasure in others' misfortunes and laugh at other people's mistakes. And one way we can figure out if someone gets enjoyment from bullying behavior is if they engage in it repeatedly. When people post multiple hurtful comments over an extended period of time that target the same person, it becomes a pattern of hurtful behavior. The truth is, we all have bad days. And sometimes that translates into saying something not so nice on social media. In Anya's case, if that anonymous poster left one mean comment on her fanfiction, we wouldn't call it cyberbullying, even though it's definitely unkind. But since the other person posted mean comments on Anya's fanfiction every day for a month and didn't stop after Anya asked her to, their repeated behavior becomes cyberbullying. Though it can also be cyberbullying if the same message is repeated over and over, even if it comes from multiple people. So by looking at a person's intent, whether they repeat harmful behavior, and the power dynamic of a situation, we can figure out if someone's acting like a cyberbully. And while all forms of bullying are hurtful, because social media gives bullies anonymity, a huge audience, and 24/7 access to their victims, which are all other examples of power imbalances too, cyberbullying can have serious impacts. Victims of cyberbullying can experience loneliness, depression, anxiety, and even suicidal ideation. The good news is that the things about social media that work in favor of cyberbullies can work in favor of witnesses and victims too. One of the most effective ways to stop cyberbullying is for a bystander or a witness that isn't involved to call the bully out and report their behavior. In fact, because we don't have to see the perpetrator face to face, it can feel safer to call out bullies when we're online. So the best antidote to cyberbullying is supporting victims so that they don't have to face their bully alone. With so much communication happening through social media, it's important to understand how it can shape our behaviors, both in positive and negative ways. Modern humans spend a lot of time communicating online. So if we're going to understand the future of the communication field, it's important for us to look at how social media is shaping the ways we communicate and connect with each other. Social media has given us a whole new way of exploring our identities and building relationships with people all over the world. But it can also be overwhelming and stressful. The good news is there are things we can do to maintain a healthy relationship with social media. Taking a break or detoxing from social media or our smartphones for a set period of time can reduce digital stress. And when we are online, we can create more positive experiences by being active users instead of passive scroll zombies. For instance, using social media to learn, create, and empower civic action are all effective ways to reduce digital stress and live our best lives, online and offline. And when we focus on being positive online and building healthy communities, social media can become a tool for good, not just a digital realm of FOMO and cyberbullying. That's well worth keeping in mind because social media is at its best when it's used for social good, when we're using it to connect and build awesome online communities together, like we are here. As we've talked about before, there are patterns and commonalities in the ways we communicate and in our communication needs. When we understand those patterns and commonalities, using social media, or any communication medium, doesn't have to be like opening a Pandora's box of negative interactions and feelings. Instead, it can be like opening the door to a community of meaningful connection. Thank you for opening this door and staying for a while in our little community of Study Hall Intro to Human Communication. This has been Study Hall Intro to Human Communication, which is part of the Study Hall Project, a partnership between ASU and Crash Course. If you liked this video and want to keep learning with us, be sure to subscribe. You can learn more about Study Hall and the videos produced by Crash Course and ASU in the links in the description. Thanks for watching!